Hey guys, I'm Andrea Dunlop, and this is the second in my series about the long game of author marketing. And today I'm going to be talking about defining your author brand. So if you missed my first video, the introduction to author marketing, please go back and check that out. So today I'm going to be talking about building your brand, which is going to be sort of the set of values that's going to steer all of your marketing efforts. And I think this is so important to helping you be deliberate about your social media and marketing efforts. I talked about the importance of, being deliberate and being effective on social media so it doesn't sort of distract and overwhelm you and take over your life. And I think that having a really strong brand that you're working from can be a big part of that. Okay, so books are obviously, as an author, books are going to be a big part of your brand, but they are not the whole of it. And this is different. These marketing efforts are really different from marketing any individual book. So marketing a book is going to be, really specific. You're going to be talking about the audience for that book, the comps for that book, when you're launching the book, the timing, what's in the news cycle, what's in the cultural zeitgeist at that moment. Those things are going to be really important. So, this has been, all of my books were about different things. So Losing the Light was about students studying abroad in France. She Regrets Nothing was about a rich family and all of their secrets in New York City. And We Came Here to Forget is about an Olympian and her dark past, fleeing to Buenos Aires to start over. So obviously these books are all really different, but they do kind of play into some of the same themes. And so when I think about how these books fit into my brand as an author, I think about it thematically and what sort of they all have in common and how these themes work together. So for example, for me, all three books really have elements of travel and escapism. They all feature some kind of escape to an exotic locale at some point. So that's, something I think of as a big part of my brand. They also all have strong themes of resilience and overcoming adversity. So that's something that I think of as part of my brand. They all have a very feminist slant. And they all involve sort of family secrets and drama and have strong themes of how families sort of shape our lives. So that's what I think of as, those are how my books really play into my author brand. So I think it's important to think about what themes tie your work together, what themes are the core of your books. So if books are the first part of your brand, then the other part of your brand really is you. And I think that this is where it can get kind of tricky. So obviously most marketing tactics that I'm going to talk about involve social media. So it's really important at the outset to decide what you're comfortable sharing. And that level, that threshold, is really different for every person. So some people are really comfortable sharing very intimate stuff on social media, and they really get a lot out of that. That's how they build community. That's how they connect with people. People can be a little bit judgy about that. But I think that's just really up to everyone, how much they want to share about their lives. And so your personal life certainly can play into your brand as an author. Are you a parent? Do you want to talk about that experience? Do you want to share any content about your children? And maybe you want to share about your friends and your, or your partner if you're partnered, or your dating life if you're single. And these things can all be really interesting, fun, thoughtful content, and they can kind of help your readers who are following you kind of get to know you and build a bond with you. I would definitely say, as a sort of precautionary thing here, never worth it to push the bounds of what you're comfortable with in order to attract readers or in order to attract attention. And that's definitely a lesson that a lot of people have learned on social media the hard way. We've all seen it. So definitely, take it slow if you're new to social media, and but decide kind of what your comfort level is about what you want to share. And there's all kinds of ways to share stuff that feels personal, that's not, your sort of deepest, darkest secrets. A lot of people sort of choose to relegate it to talking about hobbies, like, cooking or gardening or sports and fitness, kind of whatever you're into. That content can also really, make people feel like they're getting to know you. And also, those sort of behind the scenes of your writing process, I think can be a nice personal thing to share. I, am always amazed at how much people really want to see, you know, what it looks like behind the scenes to be an author, even though for me, I think that it looks pretty boring and unglamorous. But it is interesting to talk about. And so I think that that can be also, you know, a part of who you are that you can share, obviously, as being a writer. So another consideration, as a sort of overarching consideration for your marketing, is kind of what mood you want to bring to your to whatever content you're sharing. So whether or not that's, you know, email newsletters or social media content, you know, do you want it to be light and fun, or sort of dark and gritty, thoughtful? You know, this can depend on, you know, who your books are, and, you know, and what the audience for those books is, but it can also, it doesn't have to match up perfectly. You know, I would say it would be, if you wrote romantic comedies, it would be a little strange if you had like an extremely dark, gritty social media presence. But you know, I've definitely seen those sort of paradoxes also work for people. But I think you want to think about, you know, what you want the mood of your social media content to be, kind of the same way that you would if you were like decorating a room. You know, how do you want people to feel when they walk into that room? You know, is it, this can also kind of inform the kinds of posts that you want to do and the length of those posts. So do you want to be fast and funny? Do you want to be sort of long and thoughtful? You know, I'm going to talk in my next video about choosing platforms and going into some of those platforms, but I think thinking about the mood of your content can determine what platforms you use. Okay, and so the other thing that you want to think about with your brand is who is the audience for that brand. So I think, you know, one of the ways that social media can work really well for authors is to keep in touch with readers in between books. You know, usually for most of us, it takes us years to write a book, and, you know, hopefully if we're doing our job right, it takes a very short time to read that book, you know, a couple of days, because hopefully readers will pick it up and not be able to do anything else until they finish it. But that also leaves, you know, these long periods where we're not interacting with readers via our books. So social media can be a good way to kind of keep those bonds strong. But, you know, you obviously also want to look at it as a way to engage additional folks, and, you know, drive people to your books that haven't heard of you before, and kind of get your backlist. So I think you want to think about, you know, who is your existing reader? Who would you like more of? Who do you think you could appeal to? You know, where do they live? How old are they? What else do they read? And, you know, these profiles are going to get refined and refined and refined as you go. I think readers always surprise you. You know, you can think that the reader for a book is going to be one person, and it can be turn out to have, you know, a following with a whole other group of people. And so I think being really open is great, and, you know, continuing to be flexible about this process. And I think your overall brand is going to be ever evolving, but I think kind of defining it in your own mind can really help you steer your efforts, and otherwise they can end up being, you know, a little bit fractured and all over the place. Okay, so that's it for today. As always, let me know if you have comments and questions. And next video, I'm going to be talking about choosing some platforms, and I'm going to give 4 that I suggest you might start with.